going to show you today is how I sow my aubergines. Now, aubergines can be sown any time from January through to the beginning of April. It just depends what variety you're growing as to when you can, the best time to sow them is. So make sure that you check your seed packet and then it will give you the best time to sow them. But the two varieties I'm going to sow today are, I've sown these ones before. These ones I got from Spain and they're lovely. They're really, really nice. They tend to grow very, very well. So there's these ones here. And then I've also got a variety called Rosa Bianca, which are fabulous. They're white and then they've got sort of dark pink, sort of purple, not blotches, but sort of, it looks like somebody's painted it. They're just absolutely gorgeous, look fabulous. The ones that you usually get in the supermarket are the money maker, which are the long, or sometimes they're called Black Beauty, are the long sort of purpley ones. I tend to find that growing those large aubergines, which I've tried, it just was so hard and so difficult and very, very difficult to get anything bigger than like the size of an egg. So aubergines aren't an easy thing to grow. So if you're new to gardening, I would suggest you give it a few years before you try aubergines. They are very reliant on a decent temperature. If you get a beautiful hot summer, that year that we had a wonderful hot summer, my aubergines were absolutely glorious. But if you have a cold, wet summer, they really won't do very well at all. I tend to find that lots of flowers will appear, but then the fruits don't set behind them. I even get in there with a little paintbrush and try and sort of do what a bee would do. But sometimes that still doesn't work. If the temperature's not warm enough, is not right for them, then they tend not to grow. So they are quite tricky. But if you are going to grow them, don't let that put you off. If you are going to grow them, I'll show you how I grow mine, and hopefully this summer we will have a lovely sunny hot weather. I'm looking at the sky because it's grey and foggy today. Oh, fabulous. Isn't it wonderful? We had a lovely weekend, nice and sunny and warm. It's still warm, but it's really foggy and just sort of ugh. So I'm in the greenhouse sowing some seeds because I want summer to come back. So let me show you how I'm going to sow my aubergine seeds. So here I've got a little seed tray. If you don't have a little seed tray, you can always sow them in a 3-inch pot. Now, all I've put here is some multi-purpose compost. I've patted it down so it's nice and firm underneath. It's all nice and sort of not too compact, but it's nice and level. And then all I've done then is I've watered the compost. Make sure that you have holes in the bottom of your pot or your tray so that any excess water can flow through. Once the water has gone down, then it's time to start sowing your seeds. Now, the germination rate for aubergines is usually quite good. So only sow a few more than seeds than you want plants. Now, most aubergine seeds are exactly the same. They can vary in colour ever so slightly. Sometimes they might be slightly darker or sometimes they might be slightly lighter. But these are the seeds from the Spanish ones. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle them on one section of this seed tray because the other variety I'm going to sow in the other section. Just sow a few more seeds than you would plants. Now make sure that the seeds aren't touching each other. If you find that some are a little bit too close, just gently move them over, just like that. There, they all look good. Oh, there's two there. There we go. And I've got one stuck on my finger. There we go. Now, once you've sown your seeds, all you need to do now is to gently cover them with a little sprinkling of compost. Make sure they're about 1/2 centimetre underneath the compost. Just sprinkle it on top, just like that. And don't pat it down, because otherwise the seedlings won't be able to grow through it. Now I'll do the other variety here, the Rosa Bianca here, and then I'll label them, and then when I've done that I'll come back to you. Well, here they are. Both of them are already sown in their little seed trays. Now, aubergine seedlings are very sensitive to the cold, so if you sow them in January, February, or even into March, then make sure that you put a propagator lid over the top of them every night, and if the daytime temperature in March is cold, keep that propagator lid on the top. I sowed some years and years and years ago, and it was before I got the glass greenhouses, and I had one of the plastic ones, and we had a very light frost, and I forgot to put the propagator lid over the top and lost them all. There were loads coming up, and so just that tiny bit of frost just finished them off, so I didn't get any aubergines then. Yeah, I was a bit annoyed. I think I managed to save a couple of plants, but they are very sensitive to the cold. It's not cold today, but I think I will put a propagator lid over the top of these. If you're sowing them in April, then you should be okay, but watch the weather, and if you think the temperature is going to be a bit too cold, then just as a safety precaution, put a propagator lid over the top. Now hopefully these should start germinating in a couple of weeks' time. They should start popping through the soil, but obviously it depends on the weather. If it doesn't warm up, then they're going to take a little bit longer, but if we suddenly get lots and lots of sun and the temperature in the greenhouse gets lovely and warm, then these will pop up much sooner. So we're just going to have to be patient. But when I prick them out, I will show you, I will keep you updated on their progress. Well, I hope you give aubergines a go. As I say, they are quite tricky, but if you do get some, then just maybe, even if you don't want to sow the seeds, if you want to buy some plants, then buy some plants and grow them on from there. And then at least you can do some of it and you haven't done the whole thing. So there's no shame in going down to your garden centre or going online and ordering some plants. You don't have to feel that you have to sow everything that you're going to grow from seed. If you buy a small plant, a little plug plant, and you then look after it for the rest of its life, then that's just, there's nothing wrong with that. You can do that, okay? Don't feel you have to sow everything from seed, or you're a failure if you haven't sown everything from seed. Please don't feel that way. If you want somebody to do the hard work of the sowing and the pricking out and all of that, then fine, great, as far as I'm concerned. So there we go. But if you want to sow your own seeds, this is how I do it. Well, I hope you found that useful, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.